the final predictions episode here on Friday, September 26th. Welcome to the Just Baseball Show. You got Arm Layton and I'm Peter Apple. We're going to run through the awards. A lot of them have been decided already, but the National League Rookie of the Year certainly hasn't, and the American League MVP definitely hasn't. We're also going to look at all the wild card races with the last series on deck. It's crazy how close it is, and we're going to break all of it down, and it's all brought to us by the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code JUSTBASEBALL. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. Just a reminder, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. Arm, we have a loaded episode, and I'm sure there are going to be plenty of disagreements when we break down all of these award races and division and wildcard races, but something we can agree upon: the Reds management is not up to par.
Yeah. I was thinking about it last night because I was watching the offense sputter a little bit. Big situation after big situation. They can't really come through. And I wanted to go back and I'm like, okay, what have the lineups looked like recently? And I'm like, well, I feel like every time I put the Reds on, Sal Stewart, they flash to him on the bench, and Andujar's on the bench, or they're like pinch hitting in the ninth, and it's like, well, wait, why didn't they start? So I start looking back, and I'm like, these guys are playing once a week. Like, I can understand Sal a little bit because he's a rookie. Andujar was a little banged up, but at this point, why are these guys playing once a week? The offense has been the biggest frustration. And sure enough, tweet about it. Reds fans were like, thank you. Somebody in the national side of things is recognizing what we've been complaining about for the last several months. I have seen little snippets here and there, and now I kind of all put it together of people just talking about Tito and how he's very much prioritizing situational hitting and defense. Now, I get it. Like, every team wants to be good situational hitting wise and defense wise. At the end of the day, you need to score runs, and the Reds are not scoring enough runs. And the way that this front office is operated, and the way that now the manager and Tito Francona is operating here, it's so weird to me. The offseason, you could have circled and said they need a power bat. What do? They go get Gavin Lux. At the deadline, you could have said, oh, they need a power bat. What do? They get Brian Hayes, which again, in a vacuum, don't hate the move. He's been fine for them. They prioritize defense here. With Lux, I don't even know what you're prioritizing. He's not good at defense, and he's an okay hitter. He's 99 WRC plus. But then beyond that, it's like, okay, this is what you have now. Well, good thing you've got a prospect coming up that is a great power hitter in Sal Stewart that's really started to tap into a lot more game power. Was one of the best hitters in the minor leagues, at the upper minors, and immediately was making an impact at the big league level. Well, nice savvy move to go get Miguel Andujar, who's been raking. Both those guys don't play. Like, they literally never play. Matt McClain plays every single day. And I still think Matt McClain could be a good player. But it's not happening this year, right? Like, it's first year back off of this shoulder thing. Like, it's just been a loss year for him. I'll get to that in a moment.
Yes, you will.
But you play in Great American Ballpark, and all Tito Francona talks about is defense when you have the least outfield ground to cover, and the fact that you need to have situational hitting here. I agree that's something that you can remind your hitters to do. I want my guys hitting home runs when I have the most hitter-friendly ballpark ever. And it's not like you want everybody selling out for it. But the Reds are 23rd in baseball with a 96 WRC plus with runners in scoring position anyways. And that's not just going to change at the snap of a finger. They're 26th in baseball, period, with a 92 WRC plus. And you have Sal Stewart hitting homers and saying, I shouldn't be trying to hit homers. Yeah, after his debut, Tito was disappointed that he didn't move a runner over. And I'm like, you want to get in the kid's head that quickly? The number 2 hole, which Matt McClain has played a lot in this year. He's hit out of the 2 hole a lot. Not as much of late, but a lot. The Reds are getting a 70 WRC plus out of the 2 hole. The league average is 113. Matt McClain, and I'm not huge on this stat, but anytime you're dead last by a mile, it's probably worth noting. Matt McClain is dead last in win probability added at negative 3.90. The next closest is negative 2.74, which is Brian Reynolds. Sal Stewart opened his career with an 11 for 37 stretch with 4 home runs that started on September 1st. He's still tied for the team lead in home runs since that date, even though he's been rewarded with like 14 at bats in the last 10 days. And guess what? He struggled in those 14 at bats because he's not used to playing once a week. So now you just cooled off one of your hottest hitters right when he came up. And Duhar, yes, historically has crushed lefties, so that's where they put him in that spot. He's crushed righties this year. He's crushing everybody this year. Play him more. Tyler Stevenson's been the guy that everyone's like, wow, he's been so huge for us. He has 4 homers since September 1st, and those homers have been some of the biggest and most important swings. I understand not wanting your whole team to be homer happy, but could you imagine like your home field's cores, right? And you're like, we got to play small ball. We got to move runners over. We got to do all these little things. No, you need to swing the bats. You're going to pitch really well. Like, that's clear. And I understand, okay, well, the defense is behind the pitching. No, leverage the pitching and the fact that you have a dominant rotation and the fact that the bullpen's actually starting to perform well, especially with Chase Burns back there, and deprioritize defense a little bit, especially now that you have Ke'Bryan Hayes at third base, you have Elliott short. God forbid Matt McClain's not playing second base and you put Sal Stewart there. Why not upgrade your offense? You could even move things around a different way. You have Gavin Lux DHing all the time here. Why is that? Why is he in the lineup instead of Andujar? And Tito specifically cited how much he loved when Gavin Lux moved the runner over from second to third in one of his at-bats. It's because he's a lefty and he rolls over all the time.
It's good baseball.
That's good baseball. Need that. He's 0.1 WAR this year. And I know Lux has been, I think, pretty decent of late. But and then you look at Will Benson, who's playing all the time. And I know he's actually been a little bit better of late, too. That's not a guy that's moving runners over, bro. It's like selective rationale here. But your offense stinks, and you continue to focus on the fundamentals and moving runners over. Fuck that. You need big hits and big swings down the stretch here. And in the playoffs, nothing matters more than the big swings. And that's what you're trying to get. And these are basically playoff games right now. And you play in a bandbox. Why are you focused on moving runners over? When the other teams come in there thinking, we can go bombs away, your starting pitching staff's done a great job of that. But that's always a liability when you're playing at Great American Ballpark. Why would you take that away from your hitters and have them focusing on inside-out swings and moving runners over? There's situations that demand that. But I think it's been too much of a preached philosophy now to the point that it's hindering the hitters. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Ellie has struggled to leave the yard a little bit this year.
I have no notes. I could not agree with you more. I just want to bring some more examples to kind of just piggyback on what you're saying. From a macro level, I think a good example of what you're talking about with Tito's, reliance on defense and small ball and moving the runner over and that focus on it is highlighted by 114 games of Santiago Espinal. He kept running that guy out every day. 114 games this year. He has a 58 WRC plus, and he's been worth negative 0.3 WAR. So he has been a detriment to this team. But his idea of Espinal being this player that can move the runner over or play good defense, it's like, Tito, are we watching the same Santiago Espinal? Now on a micro level, you mentioned Tyler Stevenson. I think it's really important to mention that today because right now the Reds are beating the Pirates. We're recording right in the middle of that episode. The day before, so on Wednesday, Tyler Stevenson went 4 for 5. And it's not as if Tyler Stevenson had played 7 games in a row. Now it's time to give Jose Trevino some run. That would make sense. Sometimes you just got to give your catcher a day off. He had only played the last 2 days. And he hadn't played since the 20th. So he played the 20th, the 23rd, and the 24th. And on the 24th, he went 4 for 5. Now, maybe that's a not as plugged into the Reds take. Maybe Jose Trevino and Nick Lodolo have this incredible relationship where he needs to go every time. And Lodolo shoved today. right? Lodolo threw, I think, 6 shutout innings by the time we're recording. So if Tyler Stevenson went over, it wouldn't have really mattered because Lodolo didn't give up any runs anyway. But I just think that's an interesting decision. Like, why, Tito, did you feel that you went with Trevino in that spot over Stevenson, who is just coming off a great day?
Yeah.
Like, you know what happens after a guy has a great day. If he then sits, that hot streak could have turned into something, but now it's just cooled off. And that's
And you could just DH him. That's
DH
sit
him.
Lux. God forbid you don't get the moving the runner from second to third on a rollover. Just sit Lux. He's playing every day and DHing. You have a guy DHing with a 99 WRC plus every single day. That's a guy you keep in the lineup in the DH spot in Stevenson.
Isn't it so funny though? Gavin Lux is 2 for 4 today.
Of course.
Of course he is.
Of course. I just I don't understand when there's two ways to think about it, I guess. And they're like, okay, we don't have enough power. And like Tito has mentioned that, okay, we don't have enough power.
Stevenson.
You have guys that can slug that you acquired and brought up. And we've seen it. Like, there's a reason why you have these Aquino stretches and certain guys that can just go nuts for periods of time in Great American Ballpark because it's one of the most hitter-friendly environments you've got. They're major league hitters. They can leave the yard, especially in Great American. The idea of trying to manufacture runs in baseball's, I think, the most bandbox stadium you got, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's part of the reason why this offense has really struggled to have an identity. And they talk about like sacrifice bunting and things like that. They don't even actually sacrifice bunt that much anyway.
Really.
So you have your hitters really focused on like moving runners. And he's like put guys in situations here. And we saw it, like analysis paralysis. Novi Marte tried to bunt in a situation, ended up failing. And it was a pivotal mistake because they tell guys, Tito said this, like, you need to move the runner over. I don't care if you bunt, hit a ground ball the other way, one way or another, you need to move the runner over. So guys are going in there thinking like, can I inside out this and hit it to second base, or do I push bunt it or whatever? And Marte tried to like push bunt it. Didn't work. I don't think this is the way that a team that calls Great American Ballpark home can succeed. Now I understand saying don't sell out for the homer and still saying we need to do the little things and folk like reminding guys of that. But I think it's gone so far the other way that it's like, we don't need to even think about home runs. We need to focus on the way that we're going to win games is only by playing small ball. And that just doesn't make sense in Great American Ballpark. Like it just doesn't. And I think that's the big part of what's restricting them to a degree. And it's just too hard to pile up a bunch of hits and move guys over and consistently do that and consistently win games like that when you can get burned with one big swing at your home ballpark anytime. So I just don't get that approach. I think it's overly old school, and I still think there's an importance to it, especially if you do have a left-handed hitter up there and like 2 strikes and you're battling and saying, at the very least, I need to get this ball in play and roll it over to second. If you can do that, great. But I just don't think that should be the entire focus there. And he talks about like not wanting guys to strike out too much and this and that. Matt McLean's striking out 37% of the time since September 1st. And that guy continues to play every single day. So, and he's had so many, it's been unfortunate, but he seems to always come up with it in a pivotal spot.
Always.
Just not the guy you want up in a pivotal spot. And they're not even pinch hitting for him. Like it's tough. I just don't really get it. I think from the front office perspective, never addressing it, and then and not adding more power, but then even from the managerial perspective, you did add a couple guys who are more than capable of hitting 20 plus homers in Great American Ballpark over a full season in South Stewart and Duhar, and they're not getting run here. You cooled off South Stewart, and Duhar is just not being utilized the way that he should. And like, even though it's not even really a smaller sample. He's 324 plate appearances this year. He's a 123 WRC plus, and Duhar does. The next highest on the team is 109 from Ellie De La Cruz.
It's your best hitter.
To me, he's their best, statistically their best hitter. And you could say, oh, well, it's because he's mostly put in platoon spots. He's Barry Bonds against lefties this year, but he's still been great against righties. So I just don't understand it. And I think especially once you acquired Ke'Bryan Hayes, I think there should have been even more of a push than at that point to prioritize a little bit more slug at second base or corner outfield. And there's so many different ways you can move this around. You could go throw Lux in left and plug somebody in at the DH spot. You could put Lux at second and plug, somebody else in the DH spot as well. Like there's a lot of different ways that you can do this, and instead, you're seeing, I think, two of their better hitters and higher upside power guys sitting on the bench playing once or twice a week, and I think that says a lot about what Tito prefers. And at the end of the day, I don't really care what it looks like at this point. I think the Reds are beyond the point of mattering what it looks like. I think it's just the results, and you can't convince me that Matt McClain and his 645 OPS is giving them more value than what an Andujar or Sal Stewart could do in the lineup because of his defense and small ball things that he can maybe do. It doesn't make sense to me.
The main sticking point from your really, I think, correct rant is that the Reds, or at least Tito, has this feeling of an identity that we are a small ball situational type club that moves.
And that goes back to his Guardians time.
Yep. But the thing is, here's a stat that I like to reference, and a lot of luck comes into this when I talk about the 1-run game record. But I feel like a team that was genuinely good at situational baseball, like a team like the Guardians, are always really good in 1-run games, right? They're really good at moving runner over. Their bullpen is always really strong. In tight games, the little things can often outlast a team, right? And that's what guards ball is, like all of that good stuff. The Reds are 21-22 in 1-run games. They were one of the worst last year. Now, that was before Tito got here. So obviously there's been some slight improvement, but it's not actually helping you win in the margins. Like the numbers are the numbers. It's not helping you. And we're on the last series of the year, and he's still, and that's why I wanted to bring up the Tyler Stevenson point, he's still not adjusting. It's like you see what's happening. You see how good Hunter Green is and Nick Lodolo is and Andrew Abbott and Brady Singer. Like you have this great rotation and you see the numbers. Like you need to hit for some power here, or at least put some guys in occasionally, right? Where you're not asking for much. And he still doesn't. And that's why this has got to be one of the most infuriating seasons if I'm a Reds fan, because I almost feel like they would rather suck instead of putting themselves through this, where it's like they're tearing their hair out of the top of their head because it's like, it's right here, Tito, and you're taking it away from us. So I think that's where a lot of their anger comes. It's like our manager is taking away these wins because of an identity that isn't true.
Yeah. Yeah, they suck with runners in scoring position. And so great, you moved him over. You're not scoring him anyways.
Nope.
It doesn't matter. So if that's not working, let's try something else. And this is the funny part. Like this is the quote from Chris Valleca, who's their hitting coach. The emphasis has been around team at-bats, Valleca said. Maybe there have been some situations where we've prioritized moving a runner or getting a runner in from third. Well, that's different. Getting a runner in from third is different. Maybe you sacrifice, I don't want to say, some of the recklessness, some of the intent to hit a home run. And so now intent to hit a home run is reckless in a bandbox ballpark. I understand when it's selling out and guys are whiffing galore, but I just don't see it from that perspective. And then organizing your lineup based on that is crazy. They asked Sal Stewart in the first at bat of his big league career to move a runner over. Like it's just crazy to me. So I think it's limiting their offense. I think guys are up there, overthinking it a little bit because of that. And I just don't think it's going to bode well with what, the best way that they can actually produce runs. So we'll see. But if I were them, I'd probably try something else, considering they've had, bottom 5 offense in baseball. And, they're the fact that what they've been trying to do just overall hasn't been working, and they're still right there. And as like, we're going to talk about the predictions of like who can potentially squeeze in here. They've got a great chance, especially if they hold on here. It is 2-1 in the 8th by the right now as we're recording this. But like, you need more than 2 runs. You need more than 2 runs. So I think it's, they just pinch hit, or I guess they defensive replaced Matt McClain for Gavin Lux, who got the start at second base. But Andujar got the start at DH. He's 2 for 3.
Have they pinch hit for Jose Trevino yet? I saw he went over 3 with 2 Ks.
Not yet.
Because Lodolo exited the game.
with
So if that's
12 punchies.
so if that's why you started Trevino because of Lodolo, it would make sense that you're going to replace that bat later in the game with Tyler Stevenson, who
Yep.
then goes in at catcher and can play a fine catcher. Like we're pretending like he's chopped liver back there. He's
Yeah.
one of the best blockers in baseball, period, by the numbers. Like he's not the framer that Trevino is, and Trevino is clearly a better defender.
Yeah.
But I think you'll last if you have Stevenson up to plate and he's still a fine defensive catcher.
Yep. And to wrap up here, this is just a beautiful microcosm of our conversation.
Yeah.
The Reds have 10 hits and 2 runs.
How many did they move over?
Not enough.
I don't know.
10 hits and you have 2 runs to show for it at home in Great American Ballpark. Small ball. Just keep playing small ball and see where that gets you.
Did any of the runs come off home runs?
It's actually a great question.
I know the first
they
one
haven't gone
wasn't.
deep. They haven't gone deep today.
Haven't gone deep.
They have 1 extra base hit. It's all singles.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's why you have 2 runs on 10 hits. That's hard to do.
That is hard to do. Like
That
that's a
to me
pirate.
says they're not situationally not doing great.
That's
I
a pirate
think they
stat.
should maybe be reckless and swing for homers. Maybe. I don't know. At this point, I'd try something else.
That's a pirate stat. Like the Reds, a playoff team, should not be worrying about situational baseball at this point in the season. But it's for another time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they're just able to make it.
Yep.
Like if they're able to make the playoffs, like Reds fans are going to be elated. But I know they're not going to fire Tito. Of course not.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. So I mean, I just hope that maybe. I know this sounds horrible, but maybe it's a good thing if they don't make the playoffs so he sees the writing on the wall. But that's horrible.
Or just go get a power bat in the offseason and like Tito's like, oh, we're making do with what we've got. Well, not really. So
what if they signed Kyle Tucker and play once a week?
I think that would be a good play.
Yeah.
You homer too much.
Actually, it would probably keep him healthy.
True.
Now we're just getting off track here, and it's my fault. Let's talk Rookie of the Year, American League MVP, Cy Young. We'll go quickly through the awards that are pretty much decided already. Congratulations, Tarek Skubal. Round of applause. You won the American League Cy Young. Garrett Crochet in his last start, 8 shutout innings against the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto. Incredibly efficient. Struck out 6. Is going to end this season with over 250 strikeouts. What a season. Hunter Brown, what a season. 2.30 ERA, or at least around there. Skubal won it. It is what it is. National League Cy Young, Paul Skeens. Congratulations. ERA under 2. Just obliterated them in his last start. He is... I don't know who's my number 1 pitcher in baseball. Like, I watch Skubal, I think it's him. Then I watch Skeens, and I think it's him. I think you're on the Skubal bucket. I don't know. I mean,
I lean Skubal just because of the execution of like all of his pitches, but then like Skeens could come out and execute the same way like next year. It's just the Skubal perfection this year from like a strike throwing perspective across the entire arsenal is just insane. But I think it's more of just like at that moment who's doing it. What Skubal has a 70% strike rate, and every pitch is right around 70%. That's the part that just blows my mind. And then when you look at Skeens, he's still also, it's not like he's not executing at an extremely high clip, but it's like you got to split micro hairs here. But they're 1A, 1B, and they both turned in ridiculous seasons. It's just so much fun to watch.
Splitting another micro hair here, I do wonder what Paul Skeens would look like in a playoff race. Like a lot of Skubal's starts, you're in first place.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, your team is so good. You know, I assume that focus gets even heightened when these games really matter versus Skeens pitching on a team that knows they won't spend. It almost seems like they don't want to win. They would rather just save money. Like that mindset going into a game every 5th day and still doing what he did.
Yeah.
Again, we're just splitting hairs. These guys are unbelievable. So
well, and I think the thing with a guy like Skeens is like that might make him better.
Yeah.
So that's the craziest part. Is the more important the game, he might even be better. So
we saw him in the College World Series. I mean, this guy was
come on.
unconscious. But
Yeah.
yeah, Skeen, Scooble, you're our winners. American League Rookie of the Year, Nick Kurtz. I mean, oh my God, this guy was unbelievable.
In a
He was
landslide.
unbelievable, Aram.
In a landslide. It rivals some of the rookie seasons that we've seen from guys that went on to have Hall of Fame careers. And I hate putting that on anybody. And I'm not saying that that's what Kurtz is going to do, but if you try to go back and see like what other rookie seasons looked anything like this, it's some of the best players we've seen in the last 20, 30 years. The crazy thing is he's striking out a lot, and I think like once he cuts that down even more, like how much more is on the table there. But 31% K rate while still hitting 290 is nuts. That just shows you how insane the quality of contact is. And in how many years would his teammate Jacob Wilson just win in a landslide, or at least very comfortably win that Rookie of the Year? 315, 359, 450 slash line for Wilson with good defenses at shortstop, 13 homers. He struck out 7% of the time.
He's a great player.
3.5 F4. It's a fantastic player. And he's not even going to get a single first place vote.
Zero. Nick Kurtz is going to win unanimously.
Yep.
Because Nick Kurtz is already one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah, he's 33 homers in 113 games.
Out of this world. I think that's all of the awards that are a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
We got two who aren't. Now, we do have two big favorites. We'll start with National League Rookie of the Year. Cade Horton on BetMGM is a minus 300 favorite.
Wow.
Drake Baldwin is plus 185. For anyone curious, minus 300 is the implied odds for that is a 75% likelihood. So BetMGM is telling us that they think there's a 75% chance Cade Horton wins National League Rookie of the Year. Baldwin has had a late push here as the Braves sneakily won 10 in a row. Mm-hmm. Jack and I brought it up on the last episode, and while we were recording, the Nationals broke that series. So it was like, all right, I guess that's over. But in the middle of that, Drake Baldwin was playing really, really well. Do you remember when we talked about this race maybe 2 weeks ago? I said that Baldwin had fallen from a 2.7 B WAR to a 2.6 in the time that Horton was just throwing a 5-inning or 6-inning shutout every single time. Yeah. And that's what I was like, all right, now I get it. Baldwin's at 3.2 compared to Horton at 2.0 in terms of B WAR. Fangraphs WAR. Drake Baldwin is a 3-win player. Cade Horton's at 2.2. Drake Baldwin now has a 124 WRC plus. Now, Cade Horton on the other side has a 2.66 ERA. The innings just get me.
Yeah.
The amount of innings that he threw this year, being around 120, to win the Rookie of the Year like that, there's just not a lot of precedent. Skeens won it over Merrill. He threw 131 innings, but he pitched to a 1.9 ERA and struck out 200 batters. They're not even close to the same pitcher. But then I think about it like, and again, with some of these awards, narratives are important because at the end of the day, human beings are voting on these awards. The Cubs, you lose Justin Steele. You have this great offense. You've had inconsistencies in the starting rotation, and Cade Horton solidified that role. And Baldwin is playing great on a team that's completely out of it.
Yep.
And I say the word great, I think that's giving him a little bit too much credit. It's been a very good season.
Very good. I mean, for a rookie, great.
Yes.
But
yes, but it's been a good season. I would give it to Baldwin. I still would. Like, looking at the WAR differences, if I have a full win difference in B WAR and almost a full win difference in F WAR, I understand those narratives, but a guy who's playing every day and playing catcher as well, right? When everyone's talking about Kyle Raleigh versus Aaron Judge, how often do people bring up the fact that he's a catcher? Like, Drake Baldwin has played a lot of catcher this year.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on it because I know how important Cade Horton has been.
And
I know how good Cade Horton has been in the amount of innings that he's thrown.
I mean, the Cubs may not even be leading the division if, they might not even be in a playoff position, if it weren't for Cade Horton, or at least it'd be down to the wire here, right? Like they wouldn't be clinched. And I think that's The interesting part is the importance. But yeah, 118 innings is just not a lot. And Kane Horton has been so good. And I think the war with pitchers can be tough because they get knocked so much for like the underlying and stuff like that. And like with hitters, they're not going to get penalized as well. Like if your ex WOBA is way lower than your WOBA as a hitter, it's not going to affect your WAR. Whereas like with Fangraphs WAR, like it's going to affect the pitchers if your FIP is higher than your ERA, right? So like the interesting part of it. But 118 innings is it's light. At the same time,
Yeah.
his importance to his team, a 2.67, everything. It makes it fascinating. I'm surprised. My biggest surprise, I think you can't go wrong, is the odds. The fact
The
that
odds
it's
screw with me.
implied probability of 70%. I feel like it
75.
should be
It's too much.
I feel like it should be a coin flip.
Me too.
And
Which makes
not
me
because I
think,
think one guy's more deserving than the other. I just think it should be a coin flip. I think it's really close here. And this is the other thing I thought might help me, and it didn't at all. So, okay, let's compare them to their peers. Like, where would you rank this Cade Horton season relative to, like all of his peers in terms of pitchers, right? Like pitchers who threw at least 100 innings this year. His ERA is, 11th among pitchers who have thrown at least 100 innings this year.
it's really
Whereas
good.
you look at the catcher position, by FWAR, Baldwin's ninth, but remember that's just catchers. And by WRC plus of qualified catchers, he's about, I think, fifth or sixth. That's the one part that does start to push me back towards Horton a little bit, is
Yeah.
that among pitchers with at least 100 innings, he's 11th in ERA. And you want to hear the names ahead of him? Chris Sale, Garrett Crochet, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Christopher Sanchez, Chris Bubich, Hunter Brown, Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, and Eddie Evaldi, Trevor Rogers. So that's where it gets interesting. But the counter argument is Chris Bubich has still thrown more innings than Cade Horton.
I feel like he's been hurt the whole year.
Yes. And the next lowest besides Bubich of that list is Yamamoto is Eovaldi at 130, and then Yamamoto at 167 and 2/3. So it's just so much fewer. But when I sorted by 100 innings and he's in the top 11 there, that's where it is eye-opening. So I think with the importance, I could hear it. I still think it should be like 60-40, 50-50. And that's where I think it's interesting. But I think because of the Cubs being in the playoffs, the importance that he had to that team and everything, I do think Horton gets it. And I think the book odds reflect that. I'm surprised at the 75% probability being implied there.
You took the words right out of my mouth. The books are telling us that Cade Horton's going to win this. That's what they're telling us, right? They made him a favorite. I disagreed at the time. I still stand on what I said at the time. But then Baldwin and Collins took steps back. And this last run by Baldwin, I don't think is going to be really noticed by anybody. Like, to be like, oh, yeah, he caught up a little bit. He had a very nice season. But the Cubs are going to the playoffs, and Cade Horton is throwing game 3, and he's a huge need for a team that's gunning for a World Series versus a very good, solid season for a player that is on a team that.
And I'll be playing meaningless baseball.
Yeah. Every start for Cade Horton means something. Every AB for Baldwin, not really.
He's working on whatever he wants to work on and just, piling up numbers. So I do think that does contribute to it. And it's funny because both these guys were up the whole year. So big draft pick implications for both teams. I think Horton was up, quick enough for that as well. So it is interesting. Like there's big implications for both those teams.
Can you quickly break that down? Like if Baldwin wins the Rookie of the Year, what do the Braves get? If Horton wins Rookie of the Year, what do the Cubs get? Yeah,
so whoever wins Rookie of the Year, I'm assuming Horton was up in time for the PPI deadline. So is an incentive to stop or curtail service time manipulation. In the last CBA, they added that if you call up a player within the window of them earning a full year of service time, and they win Rookie of the Year, or finish second. Or no, the thing, if they win Rookie of the Year, you get that prospect promotion incentive pick, which would be a comp A pick, right? So you get like a top 40 pick, which one, the pick itself is great, but also that gives you so much more bonus pool money to work with. And that's why we saw the Orioles have all the picks they had this year. One of those was for that. Like it really does help the draft and give you a lot more, just flexibility there and just an additional early pick. The Mariners, the year that they took Emerson, Ty Pete, and Cole Young, like same thing. So it was the J-Rod comp pick. So it's definitely something that for teams down the stretch here, it matters.
So that means Cubs fans and Braves fans, you have an extra reason to want your player to win this award. I want
Yep.
to see crazy narratives. I want to see Braves Twitter somehow turn Cade Horton into a bad pitcher, and
I see it.
I want Cubs Twitter to turn Drake Baldwin into a throwaway. I want to see some wild narratives on the feed, and I expected over the weekend. So Cubs fans, Braves fans, you know what to do. Get to Twitter, start lying. Just start bringing whatever numbers you got so you can get those picks. All right, let's move over to the American League MVP. On BetMGM, Cal Raleigh is a minus 250 favorite to win the American League MVP, which means 70% chance he comes home with it. Here's my thing, Arm. I'm watching the Mariners game last night. We're recording on Thursday. The Mariners clinched the division on Wednesday. Cal Raleigh hit his 60th home run, and the crowd went wild. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the MVP. That's the MVP. That was too beautiful of a moment. At home with that call to clinch the division for the first time since 2001. Switch hitting, catcher, 9-win season. 60 on that day. I get it. It all came together perfectly. As a Yankee fan, I was like, that was beautiful. Here's something that I'm just hanging on to, and tell me if it's completely irrational, because I kind of think it is, but it can't leave my mind. Am I going to vote for a guy? Actually, I don't have a vote. Am I going to say one player's an MVP in Cal Raleigh when the guy on the other side is probably going to be the third player ever to win the batting title and hit 50 home runs in a season, joining Jimmy Fox and Mickey Mantle, when he has a lower batting average than Eric Wagaman? And if you don't know who Eric Wagaman is, point proven. Eric Wagaman
Everyone knows who Eric Wagaman is.
has
Come on.
played 138 games for the
Which is
Miami
crazy.
Marlins,
Which is crazy.
and he is the third worst player in Major League Baseball by FWAR, and he's hitting 251. And Cal Raleigh's hitting 248. The league average is 246.
Yeah,
I'm
but who
not
cares
here
about
to
batting average.
I'm not here to tell you the batting average is the end all be all. I can't get that out of my head. That I would vote for a guy with a lower batting average than Eric Wagman. With all due respect to Eric Wagman, he has a better batting average than Cal Raleigh. That's awesome. Over that guy. Because Aaron Judge, nobody cared, hit 50 and 51 last night. And he actually increased his FWAR in that game more than Cal Raleigh did in that game. Aaron Judge is now at 9.6 to Cal Raleigh 9.1. And I don't want to use B-WAR for catchers. I don't think it fully encapsulates it. But I also want to answer that question that a lot of people have been saying, that FWAR doesn't fully capture how important the catching position is. I think it does a pretty damn good job. A guy who's hitting 248 and striking out 27% of the time is a 9.1 win player, while 35 of those games are at DH. I think it does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So there's so many narratives swinging in my head. Can you help me?
So here's an interesting one. And well, also the fact that Rowley's so much more valuable than Wagaman, with Wagaman having the higher batting average, I think also shows you how little the batting average matters. But
It's one of those things where it's like I know Ernie Clement has more hits than Cal Raleigh. Like, is that
so? Here's
I know I'm being
my
dumb. I know
here's
I'm being
my
dumb.
fascinating thing.
Yes.
Or what's fascinating to me. This Judge season, I think, would be the best season by WRC Plus since 2005, because you can only go by 10 years at a time now on Fangraphs. If you're not a premium subscriber, I probably should just subscribe. I think it would be the best season by WRC plus to not win the MVP, because I'm looking from 2005 to 2015. The highest WRC plus in that span was Bryce Harper in 2015 at 197.
One quick
Harper,
thing. One quick
yeah,
thing. Do you know Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper have the same amount of home runs, and Bryce Harper's played almost double the games?
since, yeah, that's actually crazy.
That is crazy.
That is a crazy stat.
Yeah.
So
And Bryce
Harper in
Harper's
20,
amazing.
yeah, 2015 he won it. What Miggy in 2013? Trying to remember. Did he get it that year? But that was still 193 WRC plus.
Wasn't that his Triple Crown year?
Yes.
Yeah, he won
So
it.
he got it.
Yeah.
So every single year since 2005, I mean, the best seasons we've seen are Aaron Judge in 2024, 220 WRC plus, Aaron Judge in 2022, 206 WRC plus, and then Aaron Judge in 2025 at 202 WRC plus. There's never been a player, at least in the last 20 years, and I wish I had thought of this before we recorded and just kept going back. I would love to know when the last time a player has had a WRC plus above 200 and lost the MVP. That's the one part that keeps going into my mind. But then, you go to, I think the other narrative that I can't fully shake too is that the Mariners have now are going won the division, or
Yeah.
they won the division.
Yep.
So I do think that matters a lot.
I know. But then I think, what if the Yankees win the division? As we're
Then I
recording
think
right
you got
now,
a
they're tied.
I think winning the division matters a lot. I think that becomes an interesting tiebreaker, and I do believe that would help Cal's case a good bit if the Mariners win the division, the Yankees don't. Even if that sounds silly, but I think when it gets this close, you got to start just every little edge and thing that you can find, because you have unprecedented. I know you put together a great video kind of talking about why maybe it isn't totally unprecedented, but I think you could make the case that it's one of the most unique catcher
seasons of all time. The reason I made that video, for anybody wondering who maybe have saw that on social media or hasn't seen it yet, I did a breakdown of the greatest catcher seasons of all time, comparing it to Cal Raleigh, because all I saw on social media was give Cal Raleigh the MVP because he's having the greatest catcher season of all time. Jax even said that on here. And I was like, has he? I wasn't even saying he hadn't. I was like, I haven't checked. And I wanted to go through the greatest catcher seasons of all time. And I found that Mike Piazza in 1997 hit 40 home runs and hit 362. Joe Mauer back in 2009 hit 360 with a higher WAR. Buster Posey, higher WAR, hit 330. These guys didn't hit as many home runs. 1972 Johnny Bench, 40 home runs, hit 270. Way higher WAR, but how accurate is WAR back then? It's so tough to tell. But that was the only reason. I just wanted to squash the bug that I did that to, like, go after Cal Raleigh. That was a curiosity from social media. That's all that was.
I found a season, by the way, too,
Okay.
of a player with a 200 WRC plus that didn't win the MVP, and he probably should have. 1998 Mark McGwire. 1998 Mark McGwire slash 299, 470, 752 with 70 homers. He lost to Sammy Sosa, who slashed 308, 377. So 100 less points in OBP, 647, almost or more than 100 less points in slug. So a 200 point gap in OPS and 4 more homers for McGwire, and he lost that MVP by a lot. He got 2 first place votes. Sammy Sosa got 30 first place votes. I don't know necessarily why. Maybe some people that remember that a little bit more clearly can say why, because that was the great home run race, right?
You were 1 year old. You don't remember?
Not very vividly. That's the last time, and I think one that I have heard people talk about being a snub. That's the last time we have had somebody with a WRC plus above 200 lose the MVP. So it could happen. And it seems to take this crazy home run chase kind of bizarre year. I think that is fascinating. That McGuire. Like it took his 70 home run season there and he lost it. I think defense probably played a part in it, whatever. But he also by B WAR had a full win better, but they didn't care about that back then. Uh,
That's enough.
that's how far you got to go back. But at the same time, you could just say like, if Cal doesn't win it this year, when is a catcher ever going to win the award?
Yeah. I mean, the catcher can win the award if the guy
if he somehow hits for average and hits 60, like hits 50 bombs, whatever. Like you got to be Joe Mauer.
As long as the guy going up against him doesn't put up a 10 WAR season and hits 330 with 50
that's
plus
the
bombs.
Thing. It's not really about Cal. It's about like the argument against Cal has nothing to do with Cal. It has to do with Judge's greatness. And I think that's the part that gets like conflated here. And this is why the conversation sometimes frustrates me. And I almost don't even want to talk about it because then the comments become so toxic. Like, can we celebrate both and then just pick what you think is the more valuable and just call it a freaking day? Like, it's not to disparage it. Let's enjoy two of the best seasons we've seen.
I know.
And like, just enjoy that. But I don't think there's a wrong answer. I really don't. And I think it's just kind of what you prioritize. Because either way, I think there's going to be an all-time snub. And it's the reality of it when you have two historic seasons here. And I think in different ways, these seasons have been historic. I think it'll be more, Judge's season will become more historic if he loses it because it'll be a historic runner-up MVP season. But I mean, I do think that there's a little bit of Judge fatigue that has come, and that's like the LeBron effect and things like that. We see it all the time. I think the same reason we also didn't see Lamar Jackson win it back to back. He should have won the MVP.
Agreed.
New guy got it. It's kind of how it goes with that award. So that's part of the reason why I think Cal wins it, and I think that's baked into the odds too. I won't be upset either way, but I do think that there is across sports a tendency to want to give it to the new guy. And I think that's why the odds are what they are. And I don't, maybe gives the wrong word because he earned it. Whoever wins this earned it. But to lean towards the new guy. And by the new guy, the new guy that's inserted himself into the conversation because Cal's never been an MVP candidate. Judge has been every year pretty much for the last, half decade. So what's your final prediction? Not on what you would vote. What do you think happens?
Well, one thing that I do want to happen is for the comments to get even more toxic. Let's re-bring up Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen also. So let's have one debate in the comments, Judge versus Cal, and another one, Lamar versus Josh Allen. Let's just make the worst comment section possible.
Yeah, is there an NBA MVP conversation? There were Embiid, right? Was it Embiid?
I don't know NBA like that.
Yeah.
You would have to get your bag for that one. So here's what I keep wrestling with. If Cal hits 62 and the Mariners win the division, what do you say? If the Yankees win the division and Cal hits 62 and Judge hits 54 and hits 330, they both win. I don't know. Like
co-MVPs.
So I'm settling it right here. If Cal doesn't get to 62, no, I can't say that because I think the Yankees have to win the division if Judge wants to win MVP. I do.
I agree.
I think now that you're over 60 home runs, and it's just a better feel-good story for a lot of people. I mean, who wants to give it to Aaron Judge, the Yankee again, versus Cal Raleigh and the Mariners won the division for the first time since 2001.
That's
arguably the greatest catcher season ever.
To help them do something they haven't done in 24 years.
And yeah, there's semantics like, well, how more valuable is the catcher position than right field and all this kind of stuff. It really boils down to me like 62 or even 60 winning the division, that moment. The only way Aaron Judge wins MVP, which is why I understand where the odds are at, is if the Yankees win the division, Cal doesn't hit any more home runs, and Judge hits a few more and has like a win lead in F-WAR.
Yeah.
I think that's when he'll win the MVP.
Well,
and that's a tough task, which is why Cal is minus 250.
The last thing I'll say too, there's just something about the OPS. Like when you see the 1.15 and then you see
and knowing there's only two players in baseball with an OPS over 1,000 and Judge is at an 1150 and Judge is number one. The name of the game in baseball, get on base. Ever seen Moneyball? Get on base. Aaron Judge has a 454 OBP.
Yeah, I like that.
Juan Soto is second at 430. Just kidding. It's 399.
Yeah, it's
55-point gap between first and second for Juan Soto.
yeah. That's the part that
And
makes it tough.
and then here's another thing that keeps sticking in my head. TJ Friedel and Cal Raleigh have the same OBP. I'm sorry, that's mean, but I can't. I was diving so deep into this race that I was just coming away with numbers. I'm like, I just changed my mind again. And then I watched the game and I'm like, changed my mind again. He still has a lower batting average than Eric Wagman.
Yeah, that one doesn't get me as much. The OVP one got me a little bit more, but yeah, I can't go wrong. I really hope it's close at least though. Like I hope they make it razor thin.
So what's your final prediction? So give me
I think the writers go Cal.
Make
I
it
do.
really hard on yourself. Give me
I-
the scenario to end the season.
I think it kind of goes status quo. I think each guy maybe hits one more home run. Yankees take the division, which is going to make it even tougher. And then Cal gets it because I think the writers are just going to go in that direction. I think there's a lot of people that are going to really put a lot of weight into the catching thing. I don't think that's wrong, but I think a lot of the older school writers too are going to love that, and I think Cal gets it.
I also think Cal gets 62. Like I
Possible.
think he gets it.
Possible.
And then if he does, it's over.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wrap.
You tied the home run record as a catcher. It's over. Even though Judge has had this unbelievable season, and I still think Judge's season is better.
Yeah.
I still think in a vacuum, Aaron Judge's season is better than Cal Raleigh. But even as a Yankee fan, I am more than fine with Cal Raleigh winning the MVP if he does that. That is just, I mean, and again, I love the point that you made, and I talked about it with Lyle and TJ. Like, I'm enjoying the shit out of this. Don't let all the arguments make you forget that this is one of the greatest award races we've seen in the 21st century.
Yep.
Don't forget that. Because I can turn on MLB.TV and watch the Yankees playing a little bit earlier on East Coast time and watch Aaron Judge go 50th home run and 51st home run, and the White Sox intentionally walking him because they're like, why would we want to face you? And then I can switch over to the Mariners game late at night and watch Cal go 59 and 60, and the Mariners clinch the West for the first time since 2001. Both of those things are why we love baseball. Like, those moments are why you and I get up every morning and we do the show and we dedicate our lives to baseball. This is why the listeners of the Just Baseball show love baseball. So don't forget that through all the mess on social media. And also, don't take some of my tweets too seriously. Sometimes I'm being sarcastic. When I dropped Ernie Clement has more hits, I'm being sarcastic most of the time just to poke at, like, even my personal friends who have their one Twitter account, even though it's going to a lot more people. So don't take that too seriously. Don't take this race too seriously. Just enjoy the ride. But I agree with you. I think Cal's going to win.
Yeah, I think so. The odds imply it.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are like, yeah, he won it. Especially last night. That was so awesome.
Yep.
And I also hit Mariners 3-1 to win the division. So I was extra happy too.
Nice.
But shout out Cal Raleigh, shout out Aaron Judge. What a race. Looks like Cal's going to win. Before we get to the wild card predictions, our first break. Okay, Aram, let's talk wild card predictions. So as we sit here today, things can change. The Blue Jays technically have the lead in the division because they own the tiebreaker over the Yankees. The Mariners have won the American League West, and the Guardians are 2 games up over the Tigers. Unbelievable. The Yankees are 5 games up. They've already clinched a playoff spot. The Red Sox are 2 games up over the Tigers. But the Red Sox and Tigers play each other the last series. And the Tigers, 85 and 73, last wild card spot. Astros 1 game back. That's the American League side. On the National League side, the Cubs are in, Padres are in. The Mets have a half-game lead on the Reds. Did this update? Did the Reds win?
Reds won 2-1.
Okay, so the Reds won, so this is now updated with that. So the Reds, again, as we sit here, the Mets are going to play later. Reds are a half game back. Diamondbacks are a game back.
Well,
Giants,
you can put the Diamondbacks down most likely though. They're down 8-zip right now in the fourth.
damn. All right. Looks like the Diamondbacks are out. So, really, in the American League right now, we're probably deciding between the Red Sox, the Tigers, and the Astros. Who's the odd man out? And again, these aren't the answers to the test, but it is important to look at the betting odds because they are the best predictive measure that we have. The Houston Astros right now on BetMGM are minus 450 to miss the playoffs.
I agree with that.
That's well over 80%. The Mets are minus 200 to make the playoffs. So what the books are telling us is the final wild card spots are going to be the Tigers and it's going to be the Mets. So basically the exact standings that we just gave you. Do you disagree? Let's start on the American League side. Do you disagree with that? Because I don't.
I don't. I think the Astros are free falling, but also it's a weird scenario where actually I think the Red Sox and Tigers playing each other can actually hurt a little bit because they basically. I feel like the Tigers can at least, it's as bad as they've looked too. They're obviously free falling too. I feel like they can take one of those and still probably be in the driver's seat because I assume the tiebreaker goes to the Astros or to the Tigers. That's the only thing that I don't have off the top of my head. And there's so many different scenarios there, but
So here you go. So we on social media we posted. So the Astros elimination number is 3. Oh, this isn't even helping the magic number tracker. That's not what you're asking for. You're asking for the tiebreaker. Yeah,
those would correlate. But I think it's going to be really hard because even playing the Angels on the road, it's just weird. I feel like weird things happen in those games. Astros, Angels. I don't know exactly what the record's been between those two this year, but I feel like I've put it on a couple times and seen the Angels offense go nuts. But I just don't like the way that they're playing right now, Houston. I also don't like the way that the Tigers are playing, but I just think they can bear down there. And if they win two, like they're pretty much set. And if they win two, the Red Sox are still going to be ahead, I think, of the Astros as well. Like the Astros pretty much have to sweep, I feel like, or they need the Tigers to just get swept or get knocked around. I just think the Tigers are going to bear down here and grab one more. Is Scooble going to make one more start, you think?
So that's what I do want to talk about too. Just quickly, the Tigers do own the tiebreaker over the Astros. So
Okay.
if on the last day they're tied,
That really skews it to me too, I
yeah,
think. So they basically have to
they
have
have to
the
overtake them
yeah,
completely.
which means they're going to need to sweep or you need to sweep if you're the Astros or have a complete collapse, from the from the Tigers. And do you think Scooble gets one more start?
I don't know because it's a very interesting scenario because if the Tigers were to somehow leapfrog the Guardians, which it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So they're going to be locked into the wild card spot, which means their series starts on Tuesday. Do you want to pitch Scooble Sunday? In that wild card series, respectfully, you have
Yeah.
no shot.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go face Cleveland with Flaherty and Mize.
Yeah.
Gavin Williams and Tanner Bobby, they're pitching too good right now. And the Guardians are going to have home field advantage. Like you're not winning that series. So if I'm the Tigers and I'm locked into a spot, let's say I split with the Red Sox in the first 2 games and the Astros and Angels split in the first 2 games. Then we have a 1-game lead going into the end. And even if we lose and the Astros win, we're tied. We own the tiebreaker. We're in. Why
Yeah.
would you then pitch Scooble? That's what it doesn't make sense. But let's say the Tigers lose the first 2, and
Then
let's
you
say
got
the
it.
Astros win the first 2. Then you physically have to.
But that's also having that in your back pocket. I also think is because and at that point too, the Red Sox would have clinched if you lost the first 2, so they don't really care.
No.
They're going to rest most of their key arms.
Yep.
I just feel like the way all of the circumstances go, like if the Tigers are in desperation mode, the Red Sox are not at all. So they can coast, which puts them in even more advantageous situation to win the ball game. So I feel like too much is working against the Astros right now. I think it stays as is there. The bigger question is, can the Tigers somehow catch the Guardians? Because if they win this game, this could be dated by tomorrow. If they win
Yep.
tonight, as we're recording this, it's tied again, right? So,
Yep. No, they're one
and
game back.
they're one game back.
Yeah.
I think there's no way the Guardians rattle off 3 losses after, if they were to lose this one tonight too, with the
Oh no,
way they're playing,
yeah.
because
Sorry,
they play the Rangers too, who aren't playing for anything.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You are right. The Tigers are still just one game back in the division. So you're right. If the Tigers beat the Guardians tonight, they are tied.
And I would struggle to imagine then the Guardians would drop 2 out of 3 to the Rangers, but it could happen. So that's at least one other path for the Astros. I don't think they're going to go from hottest team in baseball or one of to losing 3 to, I'm sure the Rangers would love to play spoiler, but
the Rangers are out here losing to the Twins.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Yeah, it's and the Astros, they're always inevitable. Like, I have a real tough time counting them out, but we just got an alert. Jeremy Pena. See what happened to him?
No.
A little bit of an injury. I think it's a quad.
And Brown, they already used Brown, and they've lost the last 200 Brown starts. Brown threw on Wednesday, so I don't think you're going to get him. You're not going to be able to throw him.
No, and Javier hasn't been pitching well. Alexander just got freaking pieced up.
They lost the Fromber start.
And the Angels,
and I don't think Brown's going to have enough rest. He'd have to throw a short rest, and then you would be screwed for the wild card. So I don't like the Astros' chances. I think the National League's way more.
How much
crazy.
do the Angels want to kick the Astros out of that race?
I'm sure they'd love to.
Oh, at home?
Yeah,
they would love that. That's
pretty much take one, and that's a wrap, I think.
So I guess just to wrap up, I am curious. Do you think the Tigers end up using Skubal on Sunday?
It might come to that. I think they're hoping it does, and I'm going to say no. Especially with left side thing he was dealing with. I think it's
his stuff looked so good against the Guardians.
I know.
He was sitting 100.
I know. I say no. I don't think they need to. I think they get one.
Okay. So we think it's going to be the Tigers. Do you think the Tigers overtake the Guardians back?
No.
I think the Guardians end up winning the division. If we look at the odds, let's look. American League Central Division, the Cleveland Guardians on BetMGM are minus 700 to win the division. They're telling you the Guardians are going to win this division.
Yeah.
Things can change. Big odds. I've seen them flipped all the time. But if we're going by probabilities, it's a much, much higher chance that the Guardians win the division, the Tigers are the last wild card team, and the Astros are missing out. Let's move over to the National League. Again, another reminder, with the Reds win, if we're looking at the wild card standings, they are just a half game back of the Mets for that last spot. The Diamondbacks, if they're losing freaking 8-0, you only have a couple of games that you can make up. They do play the Padres last series. Again, it's a divisional matchup, and Padres are playing good-ish baseball, not great. They could go win that series, but Mets, Marlins, I'm curious your thoughts there. And then the Reds face the Brewers. The Brewers have already won, but it's still the Milwaukee Brewers, who aren't playing good baseball now, I will say. But it's still the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
You got to go beat them. That's why, for me, I do think the Mets are going to end up getting in this wild card.
Yeah, the odds are probably in their favor. Also, the way that the Reds won, oh my gosh.
What happened?
Noelvi Marte robbed the game-tying home run in the 9th from Brian Reynolds. This is why you don't try to hit homers. They get robbed. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So, even that win, though, doesn't encourage me much at all. It seems like the most likely scenario is the Mets get in there, especially with the Diamondbacks presumably losing unless they pull off this crazy comeback. But there is something about the way the Brewers have struggled of late, and the Reds, they're going to pitch, you know that. And I do think that the Marlins would love to play spoiler here, against the Mets at home. It's going to be a lot of Mets fans at that stadium, though, and I think it's going to be funny. as much as we just complained about the Reds for 30, 40 minutes, I
Playoff
still
team.
think they can sneak in there. Tiebreaker goes to.
Reds.
Mm, I'm gonna go. I think the Reds get in, man. I think the Mets struggle with the Marlins. I really do. Because if the Marlins, assuming the Marlins are eliminated by then, they're just going to play loose and fun with nothing to lose. And the Mets are going to play tense with their own fans still barking at them on the road. Like, like literally making them feel like they better win that thing. And I, I just don't love their pitching situation. The Marlins are going to grind them out. I just think the Marlins could very easily take 2 out of 3. And if they have the tiebreaker, the Reds, like, I like where they're at. I think the D-backs losing this one there, it's going to be really tough against even the Padres. I think the Reds sneak in despite all of this. I think because of the pitching, I love the Chase Burns addition to the bullpen now. I I think they squeak it out.
It's so funny.
Marlins have played the Mets well all year.
This episode has to end with both of us picking the Reds after we started trashing them for 20 minutes. It has to. That's the perfect end of the episode. Like, I think the Mets make it, but I've changed my pick to the Reds. It's too perfect. It's the most baseball thing
The
on the
Met
Just Baseball show.
the
We
Mets are
trash.
32-45 on the road.
Michael Kay said, I was listening to ESPN New York. He said that the Mets, with their $340 million payroll, not making the playoffs is one of the great collapses in MLB history. I was like, New York is just going insane.
It's
I
not even a
understand.
bigger collapse in '07, I think.
I know. I understood where he was coming from, though, just because they went to Game 6 last year. Then
Yeah.
you sign Juan Soto and you have $340 million payroll. And then the next year you don't make the playoffs.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. But I honestly think I really think and remember, even if the Marlins lose another game, they're playing really good ball right
They
now.
are.
Like they got bombed away against by the Phillies, like in that
I mean, the
second game of the
Phillies
series.
are
We'll see how
awesome.
the Phillies are awesome. They won the first game too. A
Yeah.
crazy comeback. They got John Duran. So like if they got to Duran. I just think it's an interesting scenario there where they'll be playing with nothing to lose at home, and I think the Mets are going to be playing tense with everything to lose, and uh, I think they drop 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. So it's just going to be a matter, can the Reds just basically do what they need to do, and I think they could do the bare minimum with the way the Brewers have played of late. So that's my final prediction, despite all of the Reds' frustration.
I agree with you. It's too perfect.
Yeah.
We're both aligned here on the Reds making it. And we have in the American League the Tigers getting that last wild card spot. Tigers, we think you're going to barely squeak in. For my last word, we haven't done a last word in a while, but I just went to Cubs Mets on Wednesday and I sat in the bleachers. It's the best experience in sports. And I really wanted to ask you about it because you've been to every single MLB ballpark except Kansas City, and you're going to eventually go. So I want to run this by you. I'm sitting in the bleachers. It obviously helps that the Cubs just blew them out. So they're going with the beer cup snake and they're bringing it all. The conversations I'm having with Cubs fans, nicest people in the world, like from all walks of life. I'm seeing like I
Just
something
not the ones on Twitter.
yeah, yeah. Some people on Twitter are coming out, but really in the stands, like the hot dog was incredible. The stadium is beautiful. Nobody sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" like a Cubs crowd. Everything about it was perfect,
Yeah.
and I'm curious if you agree that sitting in the bleachers at Wrigley is the best experience in baseball.
I think it's up there. I mean, the it's funny. I was thinking about it. I sat on the Monster one time, and that was cool. But
I
the
haven't
vantage
sat on the
point, it's
monster.
cool. But like the vantage point, when you sit in the bleachers, it doesn't feel like you're that far away still, and you
No,
feel and the environment is just nothing quite like it. I think it's on the Mount Rushmore of stadium experiences, and I'm struggling to think of a better one, to be honest. Between the allure of Wrigley and then just the what makes the bleachers what they are, and they're always packed. Yeah, I think it is one of the best things I've been able to do. And I encourage anybody to try it because I've sat, and Wrigley is awesome sitting anywhere, but
Yeah,
I do think the bleachers are different, especially a night game. I like the night game and I know everyone loves the day game and the warmth, whatever, and like when the weather's beautiful. But I don't know when the lights are on and you're out there. I like the night game bleachers.
100%. And it was a night game, Cubs Mets, end of the season. It was $40.
Not
And I
bad.
took the red line in. It was $2. Like it wasn't an expensive time. You get a couple of beers, and yeah, those can get up in price. But every stadium has expensive beers, so I'm not going to hold that against Wrigley Field. It was just such a fun experience. And if in your life, if you haven't been to Wrigley yet, make that a bucket list item. Go sit in the bleachers at a Cubs game. Because I love what you're talking about the vantage point too. You're so close to PCA. You're so close to Ian Happ. Like when those guys catch a fly ball in the warning track, they are right there.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, I'm a Yankee fan. I've sat in the bleachers at Yankee Stadiums plenty of times. It's not as good of an experience as it is at Wrigley. It's just not.
No, no, no.
So that is the best.
Probably
And
has something to do with the people.
no, the Yankee fans are all perfect. Very well measured people. That'll do it here on the Just Baseball Show. And if you did enjoy, again, the best way to support, rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Join the best baseball group chat in the world. I'm telling you, folks, postseason, here we come. If you just join for a month, remember, it's just $10. $10 a month, less than the price of a sandwich. You can find the link in the episode description. If you want to join on October 1st, whatever, that would be amazing. Like if you want to wait until then, get the whole month. It's going to be the best month ever. So make sure to join the best baseball group chat in the world. You can find the link to our Discord in the episode description. Anything else before we say goodbye?
That's all. I think for the prospect sickos out there too, I'll be dropping, Arizona Fall League video talking about the takeaways there in the prospects channel. So yeah, would love to have you in there.
And also on Monday, be on the lookout. Special interview incoming Monday. Make that appointment listening. For Arm Layton, I'm Peter Apple. And with that, thank you, everybody.